Open the cover. Press the SIM card to unlock it. Pull the SIM card from the slot. Close the cover. Open the cover. Insert the SIM card into the slot until it clicks into place. Close the cover. Place the unit upside down. Remove 7 screws from the bottom of the chassis. Turn the system over and open the cover. Carefully unsnap the keyboard bezel assembly around the edges. Disconnect the cable from the system board. Connect the keyboard cable to the system board. Align the keyboard bezel assembly to the chassis. Carefully press down along the edges to snap the bezel securely into place. Close the cover and turn the system over. Install 7 screws into the bottom of the chassis. Disconnect the keyboard cable. Disconnect the 3 ribbon cables. Remove 3 screws. Lift the board from the brackets. Remove the tape from the middle ribbon cable. Place the LED board onto its guidepost and bracket on the keyboard bezel. Secure the board with 3 screws. Connect the 3 ribbon cables. Secure the middle ribbon cable with tape. Connect the keyboard cable. Disconnect the ribbon cable by sliding the connector tabs toward the cable. Remove 2 screws from the fingerprint reader bracket. Lift the bracket off the fingerprint reader. Lift the reader from the guideposts. Align and place the fingerprint reader onto the guideposts. Align and place the securing bracket onto the guideposts. Secure the assembly with 2 screws. Connect the ribbon cable to the fingerprint reader. Disconnect the right speaker cable from the system board and move the cable out of the way. Remove the single retaining screw to free the drive. Pull the solid-state drive from its connection on the system board. Disconnect the right speaker cable from the system board and move the cable out of the way. Insert the solid-state drive into the connection. Install the single retaining screw. Install the speaker cable into the cable guide. Connect the speaker cable to the system board. Disconnect the 2 antenna cables. Remove the single retaining screw to raise the card. Pull the wireless LAN card from the connection. Insert the wireless LAN card into the connection. Install the single retaining screw. Connect the gray antenna cable to the jack labeled main or 1 on the card. Connect the black antenna cable to the jack labeled auxiliary or 2 on the card. Disconnect the 2 antenna cables. Remove the single retaining screw. Pull the wireless WAN card from the connection. Insert the wireless WAN card into the connection. Install the single retaining screw. Connect the red antenna cable to the jack labeled M or main on the card. Connect the blue antenna cable to the jack labeled A or auxiliary on the card. Disconnect the Bluetooth daughter card cable from the system board. Remove the single retaining screw. Remove the card. Connect the Bluetooth daughter card cable to the system board. Install the card onto the mounting hole guide post. Install the single retaining screw. Disconnect the speaker cable from the system board. Remove the cable from the cable guide. Remove 2 screws from the left speaker. Remove 2 screws from the right speaker. Lift the speakers from their guide posts to remove them. Uninstall the cables from the cable guides. Place a speaker onto its guide posts. Install the cables between the 2 speakers into the cable guides at the front of the computer. Place the second speaker onto its guide posts. Secure the right speaker with 2 screws. Install the speaker cable into the cable guide. Connect the speaker cable to the system board. Secure the left speaker with 2 screws. Disconnect the power cable from the system board. Disconnect the speaker cable from the system board. Remove the speaker cable from the cable guide and move it out of the way. Disconnect the ribbon cable from the USB card and system board. Remove the cable from the adhesive backing. Remove the single retaining screw securing the battery pack. Lift the battery pack from the front edge to remove it. Align the battery pack with the power connection and place it into the chassis bracket. Install the single retaining screw. Connect the power cable to the system board. Install the speaker cable into the cable guide. Connect the speaker cable to the system board. Connect the ribbon cable from the USB card to the system board. Press the cable into place using the adhesive backing. Disconnect the battery cable from the system board. Pry the backup battery from its adhesive backing. Lower the backup battery adhesive side down and press firmly to attach it to the chassis. Connect the backup battery cable to the system board. Detach the fan cable from the system board. Loosen the 4 labeled captive screws in ascending order. Screw number 1, 2, 3, and screw number 4. Carefully lift up the thermal fan assembly to remove it. Apply 0.2 grams of thermal grease to the CPU. Carefully align and lower the thermal fan assembly to the system board screw mounts. Install the screws in ascending order. Screw number 1, 2, 3, and screw number 4. Connect the thermal fan assembly cable to the system board. Make sure the connection is secure. Remove 3 retaining screws. Lift up the edge nearest the center of the computer to disconnect the card from the system board. Align the card connector with the corresponding connection on the system board. Insert the card's ports into their corresponding chassis slots. Press carefully yet firmly to ensure a proper connection. Install 3 retaining screws. Disconnect the ribbon cable from the USB card and system board. Remove the cable from the adhesive backing. Remove the single retaining screw. Remove the card from the guideposts. Align the USB subcard with the chassis guideposts. Make sure the switch on the card installs into the switch bracket on the chassis. Secure the card with a single retaining screw. Connect the ribbon cable from the USB card to the system board. Press the cable into place using the adhesive backing. Disconnect the LED cable from the system board. Disconnect the DC-in connector cable from the system board. Remove the single retaining screw from the metal bracket. Lift the bracket off the DC-in connector. Remove the cable from the cable guides. Lift the DC-in connector out of the chassis bracket. Insert the DC-in connector into the chassis bracket. Connect the DC-in connector to the system board. Install the cable into the cable guides. Connect the LED video cable to the system board. Place the DC-in connector bracket onto the connector. Secure the bracket with 1 screw. Disconnect the LED cable from the system board. Disconnect the DC-in cable. Disconnect the LCD cable. Remove the 3 screws securing the system board to the chassis. Carefully lift the system board up from the guideposts and away from the chassis. Carefully lower and align the system board to the mounting holes and guidepost. Install the 3 mounting screws securing the system board to the chassis. Connect the LCD cable. Connect the DC-in cable. And connect the LED video cable to the system board. The panel is supported and secure. If the system board is in place, detach the LED cable from the system board. Disconnect the LCD cable from the system board. Remove 3 screws from the left LCD unit hinge. Remove 3 screws from the right LCD unit hinge. Release the antenna cables from their cable guides. Detach the tape. Carefully lift the LCD unit from the chassis. Carefully align and lower the LCD unit hinges into their chassis brackets. Make sure the weight of the LCD panel is supported. Install the antenna cables into their cable guides and secure with tape. Install 3 screws on the left LCD unit hinge. Install 3 screws on the right LCD unit hinge. Connect the LED video cable to the system board. Connect the LCD video cable to the system board. Using your fingers, carefully unsnap the LCD bezel and work around the edges to remove it. Place the LCD bezel onto the LCD cover assembly. Make sure the cables are not pinched. Carefully press the LCD bezel onto the cover assembly, working around the edges until it snaps securely into place. Detach the LCD cable from its adhesive backing. Detach the tape securing the LCD panel to the cover assembly. Lift and carefully turn the LCD panel over. Peel back the adhesive tape and detach the LCD cable from the connector. LCD panel face down on a clean flat surface. Connect the LCD cable and attach the adhesive tape firmly. Make sure the connection is secure. Turn the LCD panel over and place it onto the cover. Make sure the panel is seated correctly. Attach the LCD cable to the cover assembly using the adhesive backing on the cable. Secure the panel with tape. Remove the 3 screws securing the hinge to the cover assembly. Remove the hinge. Repeat for the other hinge if needed. Place the hinge on the guidepost on the cover assembly. Make sure the cables are not pinched. Install the 3 screws securing the hinge to the cover assembly. Repeat for the other hinge if needed. Place the hinge on the guideposts. Install the 3 screws securing the hinge to the cover assembly. Carefully pry the integrated camera from the adhesive backing and lift it from the guideposts. Disconnect the cable to remove the camera card. Connect the cable to the camera card. Align the camera with the guideposts and press the card into place using the adhesive brackets. Carefully pry the antenna bracket from the adhesive backing and remove the metal tape. Uninstall the antenna cable from the cable guides. Repeat for the other antenna if needed. Carefully pry the left antenna bracket from the adhesive backing and remove the metal tape. Repeat for the other antenna if needed. Carefully align and attach the inner antenna with the adhesive backing and apply the metal tape. Install the antenna cable into the cable guides. Align and attach the outer antenna with the adhesive backing and apply the metal tape. Install the antenna cable into the cable guides. Repeat for the 2 left antenna brackets if needed. Align and press the inner antenna bracket into place and make sure it is not pinching the LED cable. Cover the cable assembly as the metal tape is pressed into place. Align and attach the outer antenna with the adhesive backing and apply the metal tape. Install the antenna cable into the cable guides. Carefully pry the left antenna bracket from the adhesive backing and remove the metal tape. Peel back the tape securing the LED cable assembly. Uninstall the cable from the cable guides. Use a non-metallic tool to pry the closed lid sensor from the adhesive backing and continue removing the cable from the cable guides. Carefully pry the LED status card from its adhesive backing. Remove the cable. Press the LED status card into place using its adhesive backing. Install the cable into the cable guides. Carefully press the closed lid sensor into its brackets. Continue installing the cable into the cable guides. Apply the tape securing the camera connector.